Welcome to 2021. One of the main questions will be, what's happening this year and how do I deal with it when I'm working in an area where leadership is crucially important to achieve my goals? The goals of yourself, your own goals, maybe the goals of your organization, your organization's goals, or maybe the goals you wanted to achieve for a very long time, short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. The problem is the usual way you do it does not work anymore, because you cannot give the usual 2021 vision where you simply say that's what we're going to do this year, because we don't know what's going to happen, and even leading scientists do not know what is going to happen in 2, 3 or even 6 months time. So giving a vision might be challenging, to say the least. And the usual way, how it often happened, a quite pathetically edited video where some CEO or a board level member reads out a marketing statement. That altogether comes with a way too long email which no one reads anyway. We can be quite happy that this will hopefully not happen this year, because these means of so-called pseudo-leadership never worked anyway. So what's happening right now? Because something is going to change in leadership in 2021, and it's called backbone. You need a backbone. You have one physically, but you should grow one when it comes to your leadership work. What's happening at the moment? We saw quite a couple of changes, which were surprising to say the least. The Republicans overruled, together with the Democrats, a veto of Donald Trump. That didn't happen during his whole presidency. Then, of course, we have the whole Brexit issue, where suddenly people start to speak up, maybe a tad too late, to be fair. And now, of course, we face the problem where no vision for 2021 is possible. What should we do? And of course, as we did last year, we always will look at the problems and then we'll look at the solutions we can provide for these problems. So aspect number one is, when you have interests, when you have an interest in your organization and someone puts their personal interest over the interest of the organization, that always means this is where problems begin. I just give you an example. When you, for example, see the interests of Donald Trump. He was interested in certain aspects of the business, and certain aspects close people of him might have a vested interest in, and suddenly they all got their will, including being pardoned for some of them committing serious crimes and facing years and years in prison, now all set back free, which, by the way, of course, leads to a crisis with the people to believe in democracy and the justice system. So as soon as someone of your leadership team puts their own interest, for example, their own career, over the interest of the organization, that's where problems begin. Aspect number two, when people start to deny facts, but you need to hold them accountable. Brexit is an excellent example for that. So people said it's going to be amazing, it's going to be amazing. That's why 52% voted for this nonsense concept of Brexit. So what we see right now is just long traffic jams of lorries, people being denied travel. British people living in Spain now complain that they can't see their favorite British TV show because that TV show doesn't have the airing rights to be aired in Spain. Quite surprising that people complain about these issues after supporting the concept for years and years. And now, of course, some people even say, often people who are in a very comfortable position, normally quite wealthy, often older white men. And they say, oh, come on, we have to stop arguing because it is a democratic vote. And after that, it is just done and we shouldn't have any more arguments anymore. And that, of course, is plain wrong. Democracy means that there is a decision made and the decision is followed up. That's what's happening right now. That's what happened with Brexit. It also means that the discussion continues. The last referendum Great Britain had was in the 1970s, where they agreed to join the European community back in the days. And for more than 40 years, the people who were against the European community argued and argued and argued. So after more than 40 years, they now narrowly, by the way, back in the 70s, the vote in favor of joining the European community was way stronger than the leave vote they had for Brexit right now. So they argued for 40 years and now they expect the other side to just, sorry for my French here, to just shut up. And no, we won't, because that's how democracy works. The discussion continues and we're going to hold you accountable on your promises. And of course, people often think, and that's aspect number 3 of the problems, they often think we did it that way in the past, so we're going to do it the same way in the future. I am quite astonished, and I'm talking of something which happened just today. I wanted to order a special service couple of goods which need to be transported, etc., etc. And the shop said you can order either via mail or via via letter. And I mean letter like a postal letter. So I have to print something, go to the post office, order it on a postal way. And I asked them, what about an online shop or ordering via the phone? And they said, oh no, we decided against it. It doesn't fit to our target audience. Okay. So your audience is not interested in ordering quicker, more convenient, or in a modern way. How very interesting. Needless to say, I ordered somewhere else. Of course, now we need to talk about how can we do better, because as I did last year, and we now in German and English nearly have 250 episodes of this podcast online. I'm absolutely fascinated how many people are listening to this. So thank you very much for doing so. How do we do it better right now, and why do you need a backbone? So first, values are not up for negotiation. I know that many of you now face the pressure where they say, on the one hand, we need to restart the economy, we need to get back to production, we need to make revenue, and we need to make profit. And on the other hand, you know that when you bring people close together back into your production facilities, it is just a matter of time until you have a massive COVID-19 case. Most likely people will be very sick, the virus spreads, lockdown might happen, and sooner or later you might kill people by your leadership decision. Values are not up for negotiation. And of course, especially when you're self-employed, you want to make revenue. But of course, we are not going to make revenue on the back of killing people. That goes without saying. I am quite frankly astonished of how many so-called conservatives still say we have to reopen the economy. And just to let you know the bias which might be involved here, I, myself, are in Germany with the Liberals, which is the party for the low tax and less regulation in Germany. But in the English-speaking world, I am conservative. I am with conservative politics. But conservative politics never meant that we put money over everything. If you misunderstood that and you think that some neoliberal conservatism, which by the way has nothing to do with any kind of conserving something, it is basically just turbo capitalism or money at any cost. If you think that this is a sustainable option, then you should start to get a bit of reading elementary books about what it means to be conservative. I'm quite surprised how people just recently called me old style conservative, which I thought that sounds very bad, but in the UK sense, I now realize old style conservative means that you stand up for conservative values, but not at any cost. So the old style conservative seems to be the better version than the new style conservative, which is quite shocking to me. So values are not up for negotiation, including the consequences. One company we had in Germany where a leader called people back to work and the public hand had to shut down the business because they couldn't keep distancing in place. So an employee called the police, they called the protection services, and then it had to be officially shut down, including a 6-figure fine, which in this case, of course, is more than appropriate because they already spread coronavirus before. And we had certain production facilities where the learning curve falls flat, to say the least. But of course, when you make decisions, you should make your decision based on reliable and valid facts. But of course now, and this is the second aspect we're going to talk about, in 2021, stop wasting your time to talk with people who have no clue about the facts. I am now going to quote James O'Brien, who said that on LBC, Leading Britain's Conversation, a great radio show which you should listen to. James O'Brien said, you cannot reason people out of something they haven't been reasoned into. So when someone is a huge Brexit fan and they even cannot tell you why, when you ask them what will change in a positive way, positively, what will change positively in your life when the United Kingdom is not part of the EU anymore? And the answers you get is something, oh, we get our country back and bendy bananas. By the way, there is no rule for the bendy bananas. It's just a myth. Stop wasting your time on people who have no clue about the facts. And by the way, a very important change in terms for 2021 is there are no conspiracy theories. Because theories are based on facts, and then you get the evidence, then you need the proof, peer review, etc., etc. This doesn't happen. It is a conspiracy ideology. That is the term we have to use. So when you talk to conspiracy ideologists, and of course they don't like to be named that way, because an ideology always feels like it is a bit unsubstantiated. It is. That's the main part of the ideology, that someone simply tells you what you have to believe. So when you talk to conspiracy ideologists, of course, first, these people cannot make a step on the career ladder, because when people think without having a clue about the facts to make a point, they are unable to be leaders because they lack logical thinking. Second, stop wasting your time on them because you're not going to convince them anyway. And third, when they do a good job and they don't harm anyone, just ignore them and let them do their job. But on any other level, they have to be removed. And I don't say you have to remove everyone that doesn't agree on your opinion. That's not the point here. But when people make a point without having reliable and valid facts, then people just make something up. And of course they will say, oh, it's my experience, I think we should do it that way. And often they are wrong, and then they twist it in a way that they give you an excuse why it's not their fault but someone else's fault. So aspect number 2, all your decisions must be based on unambiguously, clearly communicated, reliable and valid facts. And stop wasting your time. Grow the backbone. Stop wasting your time on people who have no clue about the facts. And aspect number 3, growing a backbone means you're building up your leadership personality. I received a huge amount of emails, thank you very much for that, where people ask, how do I become a leadership personality? And I know especially why it is easier in Germany to do that than it is in the UK, for example, or in the US, in the English-speaking world. In Germany, you can make a point, and when some people think, oh, that's quite rude, well, we don't feel bad about that. Sometimes you agree, sometimes you don't. And I'm not going to apologize for it. But building up and growing a leadership personality means that sometimes you have people who disagree with you, and it's fine that they do. Stop apologizing, stop appeasing them, and stop to waste your time on people who you're not going to work with anyway. Making a decision always means you decide in favor of something, which also means you decide against something else. Some people will like what you do, especially when you deliver results. Some people will not like what you do. And that is how you build up a leadership. That is how you grow not only a backbone, but also a leadership personality. And personalities is what we need in these days. So make a clear decision based on facts. Stop wasting your time on clueless people. And at the same time, do not negotiate any values, especially not in nowadays times. Because this year, you're not going to make it through this year with motivational Chumbawamba one-liners, a motivational poster, or a meme on your Facebook profile. This is not the time where content-free postings or any kind of content-free contribution is going to help anyone. We need facts, we need evidence, and we need thoroughly thought through evidence-based solutions. And that is your job as a leader when it comes to dealing with Brexit in the UK, with the vaccination being available, and some of you people may or may not accept it. How do you deal with that? All these decisions will need a leader with a strong backbone. And that, if you do it right, is going to be you. I wish you all the best implementing these tips in your organization. Let's discuss if you want. Just drop me an email. I'm always happy to have a chat with you. And for this week, I can only say Happy New Year. Stay healthy. I wish you a great start into this new and hopefully for all of you healthy year. And for this week, thank you very much for your time.